Welcome back to another video, you guys. I am using some acrylic powder that I swatched in my last video, so if you have not seen that, go ahead and check it out. But I wanted to test this acrylic powder out on an actual set, so that is why you will see me really show you all exactly what the acrylic is doing in this video. And I did keep the monomer and the acrylic in frame so that you could see how much monomer I was putting on my brush and how much acrylic I was picking up, and so on and so forth. But anyway, you guys, we are doing a pop art set today, a comic book pop art nail design. As y'all know, this is super trendy right now. Everybody is doing it. I actually didn't think that people were going to be doing it for this long. I thought the trend would kind of fade by now, but I still see people doing this, like on Facebook, on Instagram, pretty much everywhere, YouTube. But I have not seen too many stiletto ones, like long stiletto ones, so I decided to go ahead and do a different shape. Now, I have done some comic book pop art nail sets already. I've done one, and I have already posted that video. I will link that video up here for you all if you want to go check that out. That one wasn't exactly the same as this one. The other one was a little more detailed with actual like comic book art. So this one is going to be a little more straightforward and a little simpler for beginners. It's super easy, honestly, as long as you can keep kind of sort of a steady hand. I do not have a steady hand at all, so this is proof that it can be done. I shake like I drink coffee like every day, and I don't, but my hands just shake really bad. So what you're gonna need to help you out with this is a really good black gel polish, and you will need a very good liner brush. Those are the two main components that you are gonna need in this video. So this acrylic reminds me a lot of iGel Beauty acrylic powders. I have shown them on my channel before. I have rated them in videos before. I will link some of my rating videos above right here for you all if y'all want to go check those out once this video is over. Those are really good videos for you to take a look at and see which acrylic powders you may like more than others and which ones to buy if you are looking for different type of consistencies, because I do show the different types of consistencies for each powder in those videos. But this one definitely hands down was very similar to iGel Beauty consistency. So if you are familiar with that brand, then this is how those acrylics worked for me. I do in this video use 2 wet of beads, so I would recommend that you use drier beads. I would recommend not dry. I'm not going to say drier beads because this acrylic does not need to be too dry because it is a faster drying acrylic powder. But I would recommend that you, if you are using wetter beads, then to dry the back of your brush off on a paper towel to soak up some of that monomer in your brush before placing the bead down on the nail. So that will help with any running beads like how you see on this video right here. I had a lot of beads that were just running, and a way to avoid that if you are working with a little wetter beads, because you have to, is to just let it polymerize, and then once it's polymerized on the brush, you will just tap the back of your brush on a paper towel. Now looking right here, I wanted to show you all that a lot of it was coming off in the paper towel. Like it was a very almost like, I won't say sticky because it was not sticking in my brush. It was just a lot of it being wasted, and I think a lot of that came from also me just using 2 wet of beads. I was wasting a lot of acrylic because it was spilling over, but I did just want to put that in the camera to let you all see everything that was going on. So I do usually use a CADS brush in my videos. However, in this video right here, I wanted to use a very good brush to show you all exactly how this acrylic worked. So this is a Pana brush, and Pana is a better brand than CADS in my opinion. The brushes just work better. They are of better quality, the hairs on them. So I would definitely recommend any beginner to start off with a Pana brush. If you really do not find that feasible for you, or you cannot afford a Pana brush, which is a little more expensive than a CADS brush, then I would recommend you get a CADS brush because those do work pretty decent. However, a panna brush is going to last you way longer than a CADS brush, in my opinion. That is from my personal experience. I've had 2 CADS brushes so far, and neither one of them has lasted as long as my first panna brush. My first panna brush I had for an entire year, and that was me just beginning, like starting out. So even with mess ups, it still lasted me, and I was still able to clean it and restore it and keep it in good shape. So highly recommend a panna brush when you are starting off and doing acrylic sets, especially if you were doing them often or if you were taking clients. I have gotten the not polished brush, so I'm gonna try that out and let y'all know how it goes. I'm not gonna give a full entire review until a few months later, but y'all will see me in future videos using that brush. But overall, for this acrylic powder, I will say I will still rate it a 7.5, 8 out of 10 like I did in my last video. I do think that is very affordable. It's only like $2.40 per bottle, per container. So altogether in a set, it's like $14.99 for 6 acrylic powders. I think that's a decent price point for any beginner to go ahead and experiment with some colors and some colored acrylics. So if you are looking for a brand to start off with, I would highly recommend using Dynamic Nail Supply, which is $6 for 1 ounce, $8 for 2 ounces. Berry, which is the acrylic powder that I'm using right now, is decent. It's not the best acrylic powder that I've ever used. However, if you are on a budget, then I would suggest that maybe you go ahead and try it, see how you like it. And Not Polished, of course, is another brand that I really like and use a lot on my channel as well. So those are the 3 brands. Also Young Nails. Young Nails is a really good acrylic powder to use as well. I love their cover colors. So now you guys, we are going ahead and we're taking the Perfect Black by Madam Glam. I do have a code for 30% off in my description box if you want to go check them out. This is, y'all always see me use this black. I always use their black and I always use their white. They have the best Perfect Black. They have the best white. The white and black from Nail Reserve is also just as good. So if you are looking for a really opaque color as far as black, I would highly recommend Madam Glam and Nail Reserve. I do have codes for both of those in my description box. I think Nail Reserve is 50% off, so y'all can go check that out. The links and everything are down there. When you are making these lines, you guys, this when I tell y'all that it's so simple, like this set is so simple. That's why this video is so short. I promise you, do not overthink this. You can do it. Like, it's not hard at all. What you're going to do is you're going to take the black and you're going to take a really good liner brush. Now, I did go ahead and I top coated all of these nails before doing the rest of this set because it was just easier with helping my brush glide, and the paint was just smoother and it didn't spread. If you are doing these on nails that are not top coated, sometimes the polish will spread throughout the nail and that will make the lines look blurry, so you do not want that. So go ahead and top coat the nails before you do any line work or any designs on the nails. It will help you tremendously, I promise. I see some people do protein bond on the nail and then they'll do line work. That is a little more expensive route to take. However, I've heard that it works, so maybe try that out. It makes the polish adhere better. I think that's what they say. So I'm not sure. I have never tried that method. Maybe I will one day, but as of right now, I just use top coat to cover the nails, and then I go ahead and proceed with my line work. So this brush right here is a Winstonia brush. This is like a bomb brush. Y'all saw me change in the beginning of this video to this brush because it just bends and glides a lot better than the brush I was using from Shein. It's just perfect. Like, I love these brushes. They are definitely linked in my Amazon storefront if you want to go check them out. They come 3 in a pack. It comes with a short, medium, and long brush. I am using the long one, I believe, in this video today. So definitely recommend. It did everything that it was supposed to do. When you are outlining the nails, you want to get as close to the cuticle as you can because you do not want there to be black and then there to be an empty space between your skin and the natural the nail, because it's just gonna throw the whole vibe off. Like, it's not going to look how you want it to look at the end. This has to almost be perfect in a sense, because any little thing on these nails can kind of like throw the art off, and it's not gonna look exactly like how you want it. You want it to look as fake as possible. You want this design to look as fake as possible, so make sure that all the negative space as far as where the cuticle is covered. You have to get it as close as you can to the cuticle area with this black. So be very, very careful, because black is very hard to clean up on the skin. Same with white. Be very careful when you are doing this, and use a very thin liner brush. So again, highly recommend this brush. It was super, like, it works so well. When you are doing the lines, I also want you to note that you are going to need a hefty amount of polish on your brush, just so that you don't have to keep going back like how I did. One streak of this honestly is very opaque, but I just wanted to make sure that it was fully covered and I was not missing any spaces, so that's why you see me going back over it time and time again. But make sure that your brush is fully like drenched in in the polish. You don't want it to be dripping now. You don't want it that soaked to be dripping, but you do want a lot on your brush so that you can do just one swipe and glide, and it will cover whatever area that you need covered. So you're just bringing it around the edges of the nail, and you want to make sure that when you are looking at the nail face forward, like you look at it facing you, your hand facing you, that you can see the lines from the top, if that makes sense. So right here, you see how you can't really see it right now. You're gonna have to make sure that the black line is going kind of more so on top of the nail instead of on the side, but not too far on top, because you don't want it to cover too much space. You just want to be able to see it from the front side of the nail, if that makes sense. If the line on this, the black line, if these are too thin, it will not look right. So you want to make them a little thicker, not too thick to where it's covering too much of the nail, because you do need that background color, which is going to make everything pop. You also want to make sure that these lines are rounded at the cuticle area and not boxy, because that is going to throw the look off as well. You're basically outlining, this whole outline is what makes the nail pop. So this has to be, this is like the most tedious, I wouldn't say the most tedious part. This isn't the most tedious part. I would say this is the most important part of the nails, because without this line, it would not look, the look would not be what it is. So just make sure that everything is rounded out, make sure that they are thick enough, and make sure that they are not too thin, and that they are being seen. Like right here, how this is facing, you should be able to see the line straight on ahead. You should not have to tilt your hand to the side to see the line. You should be able to see the line if your hands are just standing straight up in front of you. So I hope that makes sense, because I see a lot of mess ups where people are putting the lines too close to the edge and not far enough going towards the middle of the nail, if that makes sense. It needs to, the line needs to sit on top of the nail. You have to be able to see the black on the nail, or this design is not going to come out right. These nails are not going to take you long at all, as long as you have the right tools to use them. So yeah, this nail art right here is like the simpler of the pop art. And I wanted to mention that doing stiletto pop art nails is way easier than doing the square ones. Like when you're doing square nails, I feel like it can really get messed up with the boxy line. So doing like a round and pointed line was so much easier than when I had to do the same design on a coffin type nail. So if you are looking for something a little easier, I do suggest trying the stiletto. It might be a little easier for you. So yeah. But right now we're going ahead and with another color. Now, if you are using a polish, like if your polish was the color of the acrylic, like where you put the acrylic down, if you're doing a gel X set and you're using, say, a orange polish instead of an orange acrylic, then you are going to take that orange polish and you are going to mix it with a little bit of white. So that is going to make the polish come out a little lighter. So you are going to need a lighter version of the color that you already had as your base. I hope that is making sense. So since my base is orange, I need a lighter orange to make this line. So I already had an orange that was this line, and obviously I used acrylic, so I wasn't going to be able to mix anything anyway. So I did have to find a lighter orange, and this one was as close to orange mixed with white as I could get. I did do one coat, and then I went back right here and I made the lines a little longer. I made the lines a little longer because I wanted them to stand out more, and also I wanted to do a second coat because I wanted that color to pop a little more. It was not as prominent and noticeable as I wanted it to be, so I did go over it with a second coat just to make the lines pop a little more and be a little lighter. I wanted y'all to be able to really see them. So of course you're going to be curing in between so that none of your line work is messed up. Make sure that you are always doing this, because if you try to do all these lines and then cure after you've done all the lines, it is just not going to work out for you. You are going to mess something up. So it's just not even worth the time wasted to do that. Go ahead and cure in between. So now we're taking the perfect black again. This is the same black that I used for the complete outline, or the first outline, and we're just going to make the same exact line that we did on the other side with the orange, but we're doing it with the black on the other side. And now we are going to split that line up. We're not going to make it straight down. We're going to go halfway, and then we're going to leave a space, and then we're going to make an extra line at the bottom. So we are not connecting these lines and keeping it whole like we did the orange. This one is going to be separated. This is just going to add a little detail to the nails, and you don't have to do this part, but I thought that it was a good look and it just made it pop a little more. So the whole point of this design is to make it pop. So I did add the little lines. If you want to add a third line, I did add a third line on some of the nails, like in front of the bottom line that I did. So that was giving it a little more detail. It's all about detail, and this is very, very simple detail, but it is very detailed, if that makes sense. So you can keep these glossy. However, I recommend doing a matte top coat. The matte just sets the whole look off. Like, I promise you, I've seen glossy and I've seen matte, and it's always matte for me. For these, it's always matte. They just make the look pop so much more. These came out so bomb. They are so easy to do. You can do them with any color, you guys. You're just going to have to keep the outline black. That is the only color that you have to have, is the outline has to be black. But the base color, like the orange that I use, can be any color. And then you're just going to use a lighter color to do the little lines as well. A lighter color of that base color. And I did, if you haven't noticed, I did go ahead and add tiny little lines of white. So if you want to add that little touch, then go ahead. I thought it made it pop, and that was pretty much it for the video, you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. These came out beautiful. They are so bomb. I love this, and you can do this with any set. You can add this pop art to any set that you do, maybe on one nail, just to give it a little poppy art or a little extra to the set. Like, I promise you, it goes with so many different styles of nails. But yeah, you guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. I love y'all so much. Mwah. Bye.